Welcome back. In this lecture, we will discuss about the procedure to construct the SLR parsing table. This is the algorithm. As input, the algorithm takes an augmented grammar G dash, and as output, the algorithm creates the SLR parsing table. Recall that the parsing table has got two parts. One action part consisting of columns for each terminal in G, and also one column for the dollar symbol. The second part goTo consists of columns for non-terminals in the grammar. Let us now go through the algorithm. First, you need to construct the canonical collection of LR0 item sets. Let C denote the canonical collection and I0, I1, I2, etc. In be the different item sets in the canonical collection. Once you have constructed the canonical collection, you can proceed with the filling of the entries in the parsing table. The SLR parsing table has got one row for each of the states in LR0 automaton. Remember, how did you construct the automaton? Every state corresponds to an item set in the canonical collection. Typically, the state I will be constructed from the item set II. Okay, state I will be constructed from the item set II. Thus, to construct the entries in the parsing table, you just loop through the item sets one at a time, and for every item set, you fill in the entries for the corresponding row in the parsing table. Okay. Generally, we will first determine the entries for the action part of the table, then we will fill in the entries for the goTo part. So let us start with filling the entries of the table for the action part. So let us take the item set II. You are taking the ith item set, so let it be called II. So you search for shift items in the item set. What do you mean by shift item? Shift items are of the form capital A gives alpha dot small a beta. That is, you have a dot to the left side of a terminal. That is what is known as a shift item. Shift items are of the form capital A gives alpha dot small a beta. So if such an item, if a shift item is in the item set II, and you find that goTo of II, a equal to ij, then what you will do is you will set the action part, you will set the entry in the action part for the combination I, small a to shift j. Okay, that means the shift items in the item set will contribute to shift entries in the action part of the table. So if you have item of the form A gives alpha dot a beta and goTo of ii, a equal to ij, then you can set action I, a to shift j. Okay, you are going to perform the shift operation. The next state is ij, or just you represent as j here. Now what about the reduce entries? How will you create the reduce entries? For reduce entries, you should search for reduce items in the item set. What are reduce items? Reduce items are of the form A gives alpha dot. Okay, reduce items are of the form A gives alpha dot. That is, dot will be at the rightmost end of the production. Dot will be at the rightmost end of the production. So for such entries, you create the reduce, and so for such items, you create the reduce entries in the parsing table. So what you will do is you will first determine the follow set of left hand side. You determine the follow of A. For each terminal in follow of A, you create an entry. You write the entry as reduce A gives alpha. That means you reduce using the production A gives alpha. So if you have a reduce item in your item set, you determine follow of A, and for every terminal in follow of A, you create an entry reduce A gives alpha. One important point here, this left hand side, this capital A should not be S dash. Left hand side should not be S dash. If left hand side is S dash, you should not use this rule 2.2. You will use the rule 2.3. What does that say? If S dash giving S dot is in the item set, then you need to set action I, $to accept. Okay, you just set action I comma dollar to accept. That means you have finished the parsing process, you can accept the input string. So this is how you create the entries in the action part. Now how will you create the entries for goto part? The goto part is entries are created like this. If goto of I comma capital A equal to ij. Now one important point, you don't confuse between these two notations. This goto where all the letters are in uppercase, this actually represents the goto function, whereas this goto where only the first letter is in uppercase, this represents the goto part of the action table. Okay, so the goto function for I and A, for that combination, if the goto function says that the next state is ij, you just set goto part of the goto part for the combination I comma capital A as j. Okay, this is how you fill in the entries for the goto part in the parsing table. All entries which are not defined by the above said rules are made error. That means they are all invalid combinations, so they represent some errors in the parsing process. Now the parser should have an initial configuration, should have a initial state. Which one should be made the initial state? So as we discussed in the previous lecture, the initial state will be that state which contains the item s dash giving dot s. That state which contains the item s dash giving dot s will be the initial state. Let us look at an example. So let us try to construct the SLR parsing table for this grammar. This grammar we have already seen, and we have also constructed the canonical collection as well as the LR0 automaton. Now let us try to construct the parsing table. You will require follow for the non-terminals in the grammar. So before proceeding with filling the entries, we will just find the follow sets for all the non-terminals. So for E, the follow set will contain plus, right parenthesis and dollar. For T and F, the follow sets are identical. It contains the terminals plus, right parenthesis, star and dollar. Now let us take the item sets one by one and try to fill in the entries in the corresponding row of the parsing table. Let us start with I0. So in I0 you find that there are no reduce entries, you have only, there are no reduce items, you have only shift items. This is one shift item, f gives dot parenthesized e. This is another shift item, f gives dot id. So corresponding to each of these shift items, you will be having one shift entry each in the parsing table. There are no reduce items here, so there will not be any reduce entries corresponding to the state I0. Let us first consider f gives dot e. So what should I do? I should find goto of I0 comma left parenthesis. Left parenthesis lies to the right of dot, so I should find goto I0 comma left parenthesis. So I0 comma left parenthesis takes you to I4. So what should I write in the entry? Should be shift. Next state is what? 4. So state 0, left parenthesis, it is S4. S means shift. Next state is 4. Now the second shift item is f gives dot id. So you should check what is goto I0 comma id. I0 and id takes you to I5. So the entry should be written as S5. Shift, next state is 5. So state 0, id is it S5. So there are no reduce items in state I0, so there will be no reduce entries here. Let us take I1. So I1 you have an item of the form E dash giving E dot. Okay, so this is actually what? This is of the form S dash giving S dot. So you should create an accept entry. So what should you do? $1 will be accept. ACC means accept. Now in I1 you have another item which is shift item. E gives E dot plus T. So you search for go to I1 comma plus. I1 comma plus is I6. So the entry should be S6. So 1 on plus, it is S6. Let us take I2. So I2 you have two items. One is a reduce item, another one is a shift item. So let us first take the reduce item. E gives T dot. So what should you do? You should first find fall of E. What is fall of E? Plus right parenthesis and dollar. So in all those columns you are going to write the production reduce E gives T. Now one important thing, you will not be writing a production as such, you will be just specifying the production number. Remember, we had numbered all the productions in the given grammar. So we should first find the number corresponding to this production. That number will be specified in the entry. So you find that E gives T is given the number 2. So we will be specifying number 2 in the entry. So state 2, this is the row which were the columns corresponding to the terminals in the follow set. So plus right parenthesis and dollar. In all those entries you write R2. R means reduce. 2 means what? The production number for the production. E gives T. Okay. So in here it is R2, R2 and R2. That is how you fill the reduce entries. Now you have one shift item here. So you find I2, go to I2 comma star. What is I2 comma star? Where is I2? Yeah, I2 comma star, it is I7. So the entry should be what? S7. So 2 on star, it is S7. Now next is that is I3. I3 you have only one item which is a reduce item. So you should first find follow of T. What is follow of T? Plus star right parenthesis and dollar. So in all those columns you are going to specify the number corresponding to production. T gives F. So let us find what is the number. T gives F is given the number 4 here. So you should write R4. So state 3 plus star right parenthesis and dollar, you write R4. Now state I4. State I4 you have two shift items. Okay, F gives dot parenthesis E and F gives dot ID. So you first need to find, go to I4 comma left parenthesis. I4 comma left parenthesis is actually a self loop, so you just remain in the same state. So you should write S4. Sorry. I4 on left parenthesis is S4. Now you had F gives dot ID also, so you search for find go to I4 comma ID. I4 and ID takes you to I5, so the entry should be S5. So 4 on ID, it is S5. Now let us find I5. I5 you have only one reduce item, so you should first find the production number of F gives ID. F gives ID is given the number 6. So in all the terminals corresponding to all the columns corresponding to the terminals in follow of F, you just specify the number 6. So state 5 first follow contains plus star right parenthesis and dollar. So in all those columns you write R6. Now I6. I6 you have two shift items, right? So you need to find I6, go to I6 comma left parenthesis and go to I6 comma ID. So I6 left parenthesis takes you to I4. So the entry should be S4. I6 comma I6 comma ID takes you to I5. So the corresponding entry should be S5. So 6 on ID, it was S5. It was I5, so write it as S5. 6 on left parenthesis, the next state was I4, so write it as S4. Now item set I7. So here also you need to find go to I7 comma left parenthesis and go to I7 comma ID. I7, where is I7? Yeah, I7 left parenthesis takes you to I4. I7 on ID takes you to I5. So fill in the entries. 7 on left parenthesis S4, 7 on ID it is S5. Now state I8. I8, you have two shift items, right? This is one shift item, this is another shift item. So you need to find go to I8 comma right parenthesis and go to I8 comma plus. Where is I8? Yeah, I8 on right parenthesis is I11, I8 on plus is I6. So the entries will be like this: 8 on plus is S6 and 8 on right parenthesis is S11. Now state I9. I9 you have one reduce item and a shift item here. So let us take the reduce item first. So E gives E plus T dot. So let us find the production number. E gives E plus T is given the number 1. So in the columns corresponding to terminals in follow of E, you write the number 1. So first of E was plus right parenthesis and dollar. So in all those columns write R1. So state 9, here R1 plus right parenthesis R1 and dollar also write R1. Now I9 you have a shift item, so you need to find I9 on star. Go to I9 on star. I9 on star, it takes you to I7. So the entry should be S7. So 9 on star, it is S7. Now let us go to I10. So it is a reduce item. So you find the number for T is T star F. It is given the number 3. So the columns corresponding to the follow write R3. So plus star right parenthesis and dollars, you write R3. Now last you take the item set I11. It is again a reduce item. So you find the production number for F gives parenthesis E. It is given the number 5, so you should be writing R5. So 11 on those columns you write R5, 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 R5. Okay. So in this way you have finished creating entries for the action part. Now what about go to part? So as I told earlier, go to part will just concentrate on the non-terminals. So I0 on E takes you to I1, I0 on T takes you to I2, I0 on F takes you to I3. So what should we write? State 0 on E, write as I1. You don't be writing it as I1, you just write 1. Mention just the state number. 0 on T is I2, so write 2. 0 on F it is I3, so just write 3. Now what about I1? In I1, where is I1? Yeah, I1 from I1 there are no entries, there are no transitions for non-terminals, so there will be no go to entries for I1. What about I2? I2 also there are no transitions for non-terminals, so no go to entries. Now I3 doesn't even have any transitions for doesn't even have any transition, so there are no go to entries. What about I4? I4 on E, it takes you to I8. On T it takes you to I2. On F it takes you to I3. So 4 on E it is 8, on T it is 2, on 3 it is, or on F it is 3. Now I5 you find that there are no transitions for any symbols in the grammar, so there will be no go to entries. What about I6? I6 on T it takes you to I9, on F it takes you to I3. So 6 on T it is 9 and 6 on F it is 3. What about I7? Where is I7? Yeah, I7 on F it takes you to I10, right? So 7 on F it is 10. What about I8? I8 there are no transitions for any non-terminals, fine, there are no go to entries. I9 also there are no transitions for non-terminals, so no go to entries. From I10 and I11 there are no transitions even for terminals. Okay, there are no transitions defined for any symbol in the grammar, so there will be no go to entries. So that means this will be the final parse table that you get. Okay, so this is the SLR parsing table for the grammar. Now here you find that there are all the entries in the parsing table are unique entries. Okay, that means what? Either the entries are blank or it has got only one entry. Whether it is a shift entry or reduce entry, they are all unique. Here it is only a shift entry. Here these two are blank. Here you have only shift entry. These are blank. Here you have only a reduce entry. This is a shift entry. These are blank. Okay, so either the entries are blank or it contains only one unique entry. Such grammars for which when you construct the SLR parsing table there are no multiple entries, only unique entries are there in the parsing table, such grammars are called SLR grammars. So the example that we have been seeing now is an example for SLR grammar. The grammar that we are seeing now is an example for an SLR grammar. Now before winding up the session, let us try to concentrate on the name SLR. Why such a name is given? So SLR is nothing but simple LR. So the technique is simple, so that justifies the name. But more than that, there is one important point here. Remember when we started a discussion on LR parsers, when we generally say it as LRK parsers, where K is the number of look-ahead symbols. I told that when the number of look-ahead symbols is 1, that is when K equal to 1, we don't specify it as LRK, we just specify as LR. We just omit the K. So when you simply say LR parser, it means that number of look-ahead symbols is 1. So when I say SLR parser, what does that mean actually? The number of sorry, when I say SLR, what it means is the number of look-ahead symbols is 1. Okay, that is quite interesting, right? Because the name tells you that we have used one look-ahead symbol, but the construction procedure, if you see the construction procedure of the LR0 items, we have never used the look-ahead symbol. It is actually LR0 item, we have never used the look-ahead symbol. So where you have used the look-ahead symbol, why does the name is given as SLR1? To understand why such a name is given, you should know what are LR0 item conflicts. An LR0 item can have two types of conflicts. Okay, it can have two types of conflicts. One is known as SR conflict or shift reduce conflict. Other one is known as RR conflict or reduce conflict. So what is SR conflict? So SR conflict is shift reduce conflict. That is, the same state, the same item set has got shift entries, shift items as well as reduce items. That is, it will be something like this. You have an item set like this. It has got a shift item of the form A gives alpha dot A beta. It has also got B gives gamma dot. This is a reduce item. Remember, shift items contribute to shift entries and reduce items contribute to reduce entries. So if you have a shift item, you should go for shift action. If you have a reduce item, you should go for reduce action. So if the same item set contains both shift items and reduce items, okay, in the same item set you need to define shift action as well as reduce action. So there is a conflict there. Which one should I perform? Should I go for shift operation or should I go for reduce action? That is a conflict there, SR conflict. What about the reduce conflict, RR conflict? So in RR conflict, you will be having multiple reduce items. So for example, you could have something like this: A gives alpha dot and B gives beta dot. So here, what is the conflict? Here, there are no shift items. There are multiple reduce items. So this reduce item will contribute to one reduce action. What is that action? Reduce using A gives alpha. This will contribute to reduce action to be performed using B gives beta. So here it is decided that you go for reduction operation, but which production should you use for reduction? Should I use A gives alpha or should I use B gives beta? So here also you have a conflict. So in SR conflict, the parser is not able to decide whether to perform a shift action or a reduction operation, but whereas in RR conflict, the parser is in a dilemma or a confusion as to which production is to be used in the reduction. Now, the grammars for which when you construct as LR0 items, you don't have any conflicts. Okay, you don't have any conflicts in the LR0 items. Such grammars are called LR0 grammars. Such grammars are called LR0 grammars. Now, unfortunately, the grammar that we have seen now is not an LR0 grammar. Why? Because if you take the item set I2, you have a conflict. This is a reduce item, this is a shift item, so you have a SR conflict. Not only I2, some other states also have one. I am giving just one example. Okay, I2 is an example for a SR conflict. So that means what? The grammar that we are seeing now is not an LR0 grammar, but we saw that the grammar is SLR1. So how did the SLR technique resolve the conflicts? So let us first try to resolve the SR conflict, then we will discuss about resolving the RR conflict. So here in SR conflict, you need to decide between a shift action and a reduction action, reduce action. So suppose you decide to move with reduction operation, you decide to move with the reduction action. So what you need to do, you are finding that gamma is the handle, you replace that gamma with the left hand side, which is beta, which is B, capital B. So let me take an let me just write with this figure here. So there is a bottom up parser. You start with the input string. Let this denote input string, and in every step you determine what is the handle and you replace that handle with the corresponding left hand side, and finally you end up with the start symbol in a couple of steps. Okay, so at one instant of time you have a sentential form like this, and gamma is the handle there. So if you favor the reduction action, you reduce using B gives gamma. That means what? This gamma will be replaced with B. Okay, so this reduction should be done only when the sentential form that you get on replacing gamma with B, capital B, is a valid sentential form. What do you mean by valid sentential form? It occurs somewhere in the rightmost derivation. Okay, it occurs as an intermediate step in some rightmost derivation. That means then that is a right sentential form. Okay, now how to know whether it is a valid right sentential form or not? What can you tell about the symbol that lies to the next of this capital B? Okay, what can you tell about this particular symbol? So this symbol should actually be the next input symbol. Okay, why that is true? Because you are starting from the input string, then only you have been able to come to this particular sentential form. So this the next symbol, the symbol to the right of capital B should be the next input symbol. So that means if this is valid, then the symbol to the next of B should be the next input symbol. That means if the next input symbol can legally come to the right of the non-terminal B, then you reduce using B gives gamma, else you go for the shift operation. I repeat, if the next input symbol can legally occur to the right of that non-terminal B, then you reduce using B gives gamma, else you go for the shift operation. Okay, now here you are using the next input symbol for resolving the conflict, right? What is next input symbol? It is actually look ahead symbol. So you are using the look ahead symbol. Typically you are using one look ahead symbol, so that is why it is known as, it is given the name SLR1. In this regard, in this way, the name SLR1 is justified. Okay, you are using one look ahead symbol. Now identify that the set of symbols that can legally come to the right hand side, to the right of a non-terminal, is nothing but the follow set. Okay, follow of B is nothing but the set of terminals that can occur to the right of B. This is the reason why we have been using follow sets in the construction of the reduce entries in the action part of the parse table. Okay, so this is the way the SLR technique resolves the SR conflict. How to resolve the conflict between how to resolve the RR conflict. So it is very simple. Again, you consider look ahead symbol. That symbol is in follow of A. You reduce using A gives alpha. If it is if the look ahead symbol is in follow of B, then you reduce using B gives beta. In that way you are able to resolve the conflict. You are able to resolve the RR conflict also. Okay, so we'll stop for now. Thank you.